So I closed my first client at $500 before writing a single line of code. I know it sounds a bit unimpressive, $500, but that was a big deal for me because for a while, nothing had been working. Most developers will do this process completely backwards. They'll spend months building something, they'll put it on GitHub, post about it on Twitter, and just hope someone buys it. And usually nobody does. So I decided I would do the opposite. I found someone with a problem. I'd asked if they'd pay me to solve it. They said yes, and then I went and built the solution. And that was about 3 weeks ago, and now I'm building a whole business around this approach. So I'm going to show you exactly how I did it from the first message all the way to getting paid, so you can do it too. So what most people do is you get really excited about an idea. You're maybe learning a new framework, or you see a problem you think you can solve, so you start building it. And you'll spend weeks or months making it perfect. You got clean code, good UI, all the features you think people will need. And then you launch it. You post it on Product Hunt, Reddit, Twitter. You get some upvotes. Some people tell you it's cool, but nobody buys it and nobody even uses it for free. And you're sitting there wondering, why doesn't anyone care? The problem is not that you built it wrong. The problem is that you built it for nobody. Nobody even wants to use this. And you never even talked to a single person who had the problem. You just assumed that they would. So I did this probably 5 or 6 times. I built random tools, put them out there, and I got nothing in return. And so I decided something different was needed. So this was about a month ago. I was talking to a friend of mine he's really good at sales, and he's in a similar vertical to me, but he's more into game development than making software. And he was telling me about his whole process of basically selling before you build and how he was doing high ticket sales instead of trying to gun for getting a bunch of user subscriptions. So I listened to his advice. I read some books on sales. I tried to really understand sales really well. So I decided to just start with one person to put this into action. So I've got a friend who I met on LinkedIn, and his name is James. We'll call him James. And he's a financial planner, a certified financial planner, and he runs his own practice. He has clients, he makes good money, and I was talking to him about this whole thing, and I said, "Hey, can I ask you about your workflow? I'm looking to build automation tools. I want to understand what financial planners actually do day to day." So we got in a call, and I wasn't trying to sell him anything. I just asked some questions. And I just asked him to walk me through a typical week. What takes the most time? What do you hate doing? What's repetitive? And this right here is very important. You don't want to talk too much. Your job here is just to ask questions and listen. But he told me mainly portfolio allocations. So he was mainly doing these in Excel for almost every single client. He said it took him about 2 hours per client, and then he has to build a PowerPoint presentation to show them. It's a whole tedious process. And I said, what if I could automate that? You just input the data and it calculates the optimal allocation, generates the presentation. Would that be useful at all to you? And he said, absolutely. How much would that cost? We agreed on a pretty low price because he was my first client. And we just shook on it virtually. And I got to work. And it took me about a week to build. It's nothing fancy, but it works. It's kind of duct taped together. But I delivered to him. He's testing it out. And it should cut his time down from 2 hours to 10 minutes per client. But he paid me is the important part. He validated that solution. That is the key to all of this. So why this approach works much better than just building something and hoping is that one, someone will pay before you start building. There's no risk. You're not spending weeks or months building something that may never sell. You already have a customer. Number two is you build exactly what they need, not what you think they need. So not what you think would be cool to build. It solves their exact problem and it actually works for them. And you get paid faster. You get paid immediately. I went from zero to $500 in 3 weeks. And if I had tried to build it first and then sell it, I would be at zero. And fourth, you learn the domain. So by talking to James, I know how financial planners work, what their pain points are, what they'd pay for, and that's extremely valuable market research because that means I can use that for future solutions. So I'm going to use what I did for James as a starting point to talk to other financial advisors to show them that I'm building something real. I can say, here's what I built for the other advisor. Here's the result. Would you want something similar? and it's way easier than just I have this idea and it will work. So if you want to try this approach, and I think you should, here's what you should do. So you just want to pick a person, a type of person, not a market, a person. And for me, it was financial planners. So it might be real estate agents, accountants, lawyers, gym owners, whatever. Just pick one and find someone in your network on LinkedIn. So you might know someone or someone who knows someone. If not, just get on LinkedIn, connect with them, send them a message, just say, hey, I'm looking to start building software automation tools, and can I ask about your workflow? And a lot of people will just say yes if you're not trying to sell them something immediately. So just get on a call, ask them discovery questions, just what does your typical week look like? What takes up the most time? What's repetitive? What do you wish was automated? Don't pitch anything yet, just listen and take notes. And when you hear a clear pain point, ask if they'd pay to solve it. Ask, would that be valuable? What if I could automate that for you? And if they said yes, give them a price. It doesn't have to be perfect, just a number. Make sure you justify it using ROI. So ask how much their billable time per hour is, and then calculate how much time it would save them ROI wise. So, first client for me, 500. For you, it might be 1,000, 2,500, whatever feels right. And if they say yes, you build it, and now you have a customer, and now you're building something someone is paying you for, and that changes everything. The code doesn't have to be perfect. The implementation doesn't matter. It doesn't have to scale to a million users. It just has to solve their one problem. So just deliver it, get paid, do it again. Once you have one customer, it's a lot easier to get the second one. You have proof, you have a case study, and you know you can do this. So that's it. That's the whole process. But I'm about like a month or so into this, and I'm seeing how much better this is than the old way of just building random stuff and hoping. So I have money coming in, a real customer, and I'm learning a real domain, and I have technically a real business. So if you're a developer who's stuck building side projects that go nowhere, just try this. Just pick a person, ask them some questions, find their problem, build a solution. And it's scary because you have to talk to people and ask them for money. But that's the gap between building something as a hobby and running a real company. But yeah, that's how I close my first client before building anything. If you want to follow along as I grow this, I'm posting updates on LinkedIn and here on YouTube. The link's in the description. But yeah, thanks for watching and go talk to somebody.